welcome to another episode of Financial Freeway. I'm Dave Atwood, your host, rocking the Ray-Bans. How's everyone doing today? It's been a very stormy day here on the West Coast. I kind of dig it. It's been a while since we had some serious rain. A while. Like, I would say more than a year since we've had rain like we just had today. They're calling for 25 millimeters in one day. That's just amazing. Back at work from the weekend of running around, and I had to drive through town. I had to drive through a part of town that was a little sketchy, and it made me think a lot about what we think and then the mindset of how we go through life. And some of the people I had to encounter were pretty intense individuals. And Victoria, for the most part, we never had a real problem with homeless people until 10 years ago or so. But then it became an issue, and maybe a little bit more than 10 years ago, and it started becoming these things where we had these encampments, and these tent cities were starting to pop up, and it was starting to be more and more of a thing. And they would constantly, the same rhetoric we kept hearing from everyone is there was no housing, that's why these people were homeless. And I thought about it. I thought, I don't know if that's the case. And here's the thing, you can hate me for thinking this, but I don't think a shortage of affordable housing is a reason these people are homeless. What I saw on Sunday was a lot of, it was obvious there was addiction issues, but I don't think it starts there. And the reason I was talking to someone else about this, and they're talking about addiction, mental health, and I was like, I get it. I can see those things being an issue. But if my daughter had a problem with addiction, I would let her stay with me and we would work on getting it fixed, however we could. And, I was going to say she would stay with me because I've heard that actually could be detrimental. But I would be there helping her, and I would not let her live in some of the conditions I saw on Sunday. And I realized, I don't think the reason most people are in those dire straits is because of a housing shortage or even addiction. I believe it is because they have burned every relationship that they have. And I started thinking about that. If you have a good relationship with someone, because I know I have many friends, and if I was homeless, I could call, I would say, a dozen people and say, here's the situation. I'm in a bit of a jam, and I need a place to crash for a little bit. Can I stay with you until I get on my feet? Most of those people, I am confident, would say absolutely. Now, having said that, if I were to be living with those people, they wouldn't touch a dish. They wouldn't vacuum. I would be doing everything all day until I got every spare moment I had. Nice Porsche. Every spare moment I had would be devoted to being the best domestic engineer possible while I wasn't working. And if I wasn't working for whatever reason, if I lost my job, while I'm looking for a job from 9 a.m. till 1 o'clock in the afternoon, when I got back to his place at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I'll be sitting there just cleaning house. That's all I would do. And I would hit that couch after I'd done the dishes and put them washed and dried and put them away. There was no way that I would ruin these relationships, knowing how important housing is. It's a simple thing. I am certain these people, while they are in those situations where they're living in a tent on the street or at the courthouse back parking lot, I'm certain that they don't have a big network to fall on. And I am sure there are some people who are going to say that, yes, well, you don't know, and their situation's different, and there's always going to be, it's not a cookie cutter or a mold that everyone's going to fall into. I'm just saying, I believe that when people are saying all these other reasons why people are homeless, I think, yeah, but I think in there they have burned every relationship they have, and there's no one, because I'm telling you, I know people that even if all they had was a couch, they would let me, even if all they had was a piece of floor, they'd let me stay on it. So so I think, I mean, I was going to talk about something else today, but I think what I'm going to talk about is how important relationships are in your growth with wealth. When they did a study in the late 90s about of 100 millionaires, people who had made whose net worth was over $1 million. One of the overwhelming things they found as a majority, I think it was like 80%, were still married to their first wife. And I think that's where I would like to start with the whole wealth building thing. If you are if you're married now and you're watching this, stay married. Work on it. Figure it out. Figure out how to make the marriage work. And the funny thing is so many people leave marriages to go find something different because they're not being satisfied, or there's an issue, and they end up the next relationship they get into is more toxic, more damaging, or they're more neglected, or it's exactly the same. I don't know many people who trade up when they leave someone. So I always think about it. It's like, well, if this relationship is worse than the one you were in, why didn't you make the one you were in work? And I'm not saying it's easy. It's not. But what I'm saying is, if you are married, there's just a commonality. What I'm seeing, what reading this book, The Millionaire Next Door, they're talking about how the overwhelming majority of people who have wealth in excess of a net worth of $1 million, and this back in the 90s, so this is like 25, 30 years ago, this was 20 years ago, overwhelming majority of them are married to their original spouse, to their first spouse. So that's kind of the key. So if you have a marriage, if you're married, don't be so flippant with it. I'm not saying anyone is, but in my experience, there have been people who have left marriages for more exciting things, more fun. They want the new feels, and I'm just gonna basically just quote the stats. If you are on your third or fourth marriage, you're in the minority of people that become wealthy. So that's just the reality of it. And anyone who's been through a divorce, especially if you haven't been to the divorce and you have kids, you'll understand what I'm talking about when I say you're in the minority, and here's why: because half your paycheck is going to someone else, and it's hard to get ahead when your money's going somewhere where you have you're not able to gain any assets or invest at all. So something to consider. So one of the things that, like I say, is important is not just the relationships with your spouse, but with your siblings and your coworkers. A lot of people, and I think it's more prevalent today than ever before, is there's less social, there's less of a need to have a network of friends, and like serious friends, because of everything that we can do on our own with our phones and with internet connectivity. We don't want to work. Sorry, it's not that we don't want to work. It's that we don't feel the need to work at these relationships. But having seen what I saw on Sunday and reading what I've read about relationships, I think they're very important. It's a piece of the puzzle for wealth. So make sure you call that friend. Make sure you donate time to them, because it does not only affect you psychologically, but it can actually have an impact on your wealth. Thanks so much for listening, folks. Remember, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button. It doesn't hurt you, and it helps me. If you like what you see, hit the thumbs up. And of course, as I always say, share the good word. That's what we're trying to hear. Thanks so much. Have a great day. God bless.